What up, people? Van from the Vaniverse Gaming Channel here with another video on Conan Exiles. In today's video, I want to cover what I get asked a lot in the comments is, should I buy Conan Exiles? So what I'd like to do is just kind of play through the game a little bit, talk about the pros, the cons, everything I believe the game is right now in its current state. And then at the end, I will let you guys know my opinion on if you should buy it or not. Now, this is solely my opinion. I've put in over 900 hours into this game, and so some people might agree, they might disagree, but this is what I feel, and so let's begin. So let's first talk about the game in its current state. I like the game. I've always liked the game. I've never had a problem with the game itself. A lot of the changes that they have made to this game over the last couple months have been for the positive. I've been playing this since beta, so I can tell you that all the new content like the Midnight Grove, the new dungeon, the new religion, it's all been a positive thing. But at the same time, it feels like every time they bring something new, they drop something else or they break something else. And that is okay because, you know, like any game of this magnitude, things are going to need fixed and things are going to get broken. But at the same time, there's a lot of things that have not been fixed since day one. So a couple things that if you end up buying this game and you want to buy it and you want to play it, here's what you need to be concerned about. The first thing is where to play. You know, they have 3 different versions of servers, and then they have a solo version. So for instance, you can play on your PC. You don't play with anyone else. You just start your own game, you select the difficulty, and you have at it. So that's okay for this game. You can play it like that. You won't interact with anybody, and you may have to go into the admin panel and tweak some things to beat some of the content because this is a game that's designed for multiplayer, but you can do it. The other way is you can play on a strictly player-verse environment where the only real issue you're going to have is going against this thing called a purge, but that's one of the problems with the game because the purge doesn't actually work most times. Some people have it work, some people don't, but that's pretty much what PvE is. You will never have to fight another player. You'll never have to worry about your structure being damaged. Then they have like this PvE or PvP light is what I'll call it. Basically, you can't damage anyone's structures, but you can attack people and kill them out in the world during certain time frames. And then last, you have a PvP server. So as a player who's put in 900 hours, this game is like Rust where it's designed, and Ark, it's designed to be in a group. You know, if you're in a clan and you have several members, you're obviously going to have a better chance at this than if you're going to be solo. It's just how the game works. The game is about farming and collecting resources and leveling up. So the faster you can level and the more resources you can farm and collect, the stronger you're going to be. So playing on a PvP server can be a daunting task because it's almost guaranteed that there's going to be one clan that's going to rise up to be an alpha clan. And by alpha clan, they just basically mean they're going to be bigger and stronger than anyone else in the server, and they are going to be able to wipe out anybody they want if they choose to do so. And then that leads to that clan kind of ruling the server and kind of dictating things. And depending on if you're playing on an official server or a private server, controlling what other people can and can't do, which goes against the experience. So that's the first thing you have to decide. If you truly want to buy this game and you want to play it, what do you want to play? Do you want to play with a bunch of friends on a PvP server? Are you okay with, you know, competing and spending hours farming and leveling and building this gigantic thing in order to dominate a server? Or are you a casual player that just wants to build and doesn't want to do any of that other stuff? And then the other thing is well, what if you like to build, but you also enjoy PvP, so you're like, hey, why don't I PvE, but also at the same time, I'd love to be able to fight other players. So that's like a PvE-C server, they call it, or conflict server. So that's the most important. And then you can say, hey, look, I don't like people. I just want to be by myself. I want to play solo. So then you just play on your PC solo, you don't run into anyone else, and you experience the game by yourself. Now, I will tell you, if you choose to play with a buddy, do not play on a solo server like on your PC. It is terrible. They have this whole rubber banding thing where you're like attached at the hip, and once someone gets super far away from the other person, they basically get ported. It's just a miserable co-op experience. This game was never designed to play on your PC in a co-op version. It was meant, if you're going to do multiplayer, that you play it on a server. So, with that being said, that is now it. Now you got to figure out if you want to play on an official server or if you want to play on a private server. There's pros and cons to both. I have played on many private servers. I have played on many official servers. And I'll tell you the pros and cons to both of them based on my experience. So let's talk official servers. So the number one complaint on official servers is it's not modded. There's no moderator on an official server. And people complain all the time about that there's racism and there's blocking of spawns and there's all this other stuff. Well, that's going to happen. If you ever played Rust or any other game that's a survival type game, normally the official servers do not have any moderators. So there's going to be hacking. There's going to be cheating. All that stuff is going to exist. So then you're like, okay, well, I can't put up with this. I don't want to put all this time into a game, and then all of a sudden this group of people decide to block a spawn, or they decide to hack and, I lose all my stuff. So if that's the case, then you're not going to want to play on an official server. It's just not something you do. So you're like, okay, I'm going to go play on a private server. So what makes a private server good? Well, a private server is run by a person who is a moderator, or there might be several people. So that's a good thing. There's always someone, or usually someone around, that is going to be helping you. Now, the problem with that is that if they play the game as well, it leads to some things that you might not like. They might make decisions about the server that you don't agree with. I was on a private server where everyone except for the group of people who started the server were under the impression that they were cheating, and they were purposely raiding people and using bugs and hacks, and not hacks and bugs, but admin panel. And so you never really know on a private server if you're being hosted by somebody who is legit, who you can trust. But there are some out there. There are some servers that have been out since the day the game came out, and they are still running, and the population is still pretty good. So the other problem with a private server is if you do get on one, there is no guarantee that that server will be there tomorrow. So if you get on a private server and you get to level 50 and you spend all these hours building this base, and the guy says, hey, look, I don't feel like paying the money to run the server anymore. I'm just not doing it. I'm turning the server off. Well, guess what? All your stuff is gone. So being on a private server has its risks. And it also has its risks on trusting the people that are on the private server. So that's another thing that you have to think about is if I do go a private server, how do I trust one that is a good server that I know people are going to keep running it? It's not going to end. And to me, the best server for that is actually the Hibernian Age or whatever. I truly have not played on it, but it's been around forever. It seems to always have a good population on it. If you ever watch Twitch, the streamers always seem to be from our Hibernian Age RP. So if you want a server that I have pretty much been seeing around since the dawn of time, it's that Hibernian Age. So there you go. So that's it. So you pick your server, now you know what you want, and now you're going to start playing the game. So the next thing you have to worry about is, okay, I'm buying the game, I'm spending my hard-earned money. What else do I need to worry about? Is it worth spending my money? There are still, to this day, bugs in this game that are quote-unquote game-breaking. By game-breaking, I mean you might lose your body. You might lose a chest. You might lose part of your house. There's just different bugs that happen that you could lose stuff that you've earned throughout the game. And that can be very frustrating. So that's another thing you have to be sure of is that it doesn't happen to everyone. Not everybody has a game-breaking bug where they're like, oh my God, this happened to me. It's random. It can happen to some people. It can happen to nobody. It just truly depends on lots of things. So Now that we kind of talked about all the caution, red stop sign, flag, be careful this. If you still want to play this game, then I would say at this point, if you are aware of all that stuff, it is worth the purchase. This game doesn't lose its luster until you get a great game-breaking bug that even that doesn't lose its luster. It loses its luster when you've been playing long enough to start seeing the bugs and to understand the game. I've played through so many times from 0 to 50 that I know exactly where to go. I know exactly what to kill. I know how to get everything. And so it's become routine to me. And when something becomes routine, you start to see the bugs. But if you're a brand new player who have never played Conan Exiles, this game will provide you with hours and hours of entertainment if you like these style games. This might not be for everybody. It could be a game that you just don't like. But if you like these style games, it's worth the purchase, especially if it's on sale. And lately, they've been putting it on sale. I think if you buy it half price, 40% off, 50%, it's worth $15-20. You're going to get your time out of it. I assure you that, especially if you play solo player. What does the game need, in my opinion, to be better? One of the things that bothers me about this game is it's kind of a hybrid. It's a hybrid between Ark and Rust. It kind of does some things like Rust, some things like Ark. The problem is that the game needs wipes like Rust does. It can't run constantly and servers can't stay active. The reason why they designed it the way they did is they were thinking that what will happen is people will destroy other people's bases, and because of the destruction, the servers can run and everyone will be happy. But this is a game that requires restarts. On PvP especially, because there's certain things that if someone gets too far ahead, then it's just there's no fun playing the game anymore. They chase everyone else away, and if you're a new player, you just have no chance. You can't start. They need servers that wipe, that everyone knows wipes, and people can choose to play on those. I think if they came out with servers that wiped, it would actually bring more players back to the game. The other thing is the bugs. They have to fix some of these game-breaking bugs and the hacking. If they can fix the bugs, everything will be fine. I think they upset a lot of people because they brought the game out not once, but twice. And both times they brought it out, it wasn't what they advertised. The first time was the early access that you had to pay $40 to get into or whatever, $30, and it was so broken you couldn't play it. So they had like 50-some thousand people, and then everyone quit. And then they came out with the Frozen North expansion, and people were really excited about that. And then it got up to like 12,000 concurrent players. Then they said, okay, we're coming out. We're launching May of 2018. This is the live version. Everyone came back thinking, wow, that game was great. Let's try it now. And it's exactly the way it was back in beta with all the same bugs and everything. So they've really upset their base by making promises and not delivering. And then they continue to bring out paid DLCs for their players that really like the game. And it's upsetting the other players because they think they're being, they've already been swindled with paying twice, first to get into the early and then another one if you didn't get into the early access and did the opening launch. And now on top of that, you're charging for 3 DLCs in a matter of less than 6 months. But yet the game still is broken and unplayable for certain people. So I think that this game has a potential to be a great game. I feel like the developers are doing the best they can. Sometimes it's not the development team. It's actually the publishers, the gaming company, Funcom. I feel like this game has so much potential, it's ridiculous. But I also feel like it's kind of like you build a house on some sticks, and that you can't make the house beautiful if the foundation is made of sticks and continues to break every time you do something to the house. The foundation breaks a little bit. It's just, I don't know if it's ever going to get to that point, and I think wipes is the only answer to keep this game good. But with all that said, they continue to keep a population, average players of about 3,000 with 40 people per server. It's not a bad game. It's not super popular. It's a niche game. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please leave it a like if you did. This is probably going to be my last Conan Exiles video for a long time. I'm moving on to some other things. Waiting for this to get to what I said, either server wipes or something that brings me back to the game where I want to play this and dedicate all that time and not fear of losing my progress. And so please give it a like. Please thumbs up, comments. I really want to know what your guys' opinion are. Do you agree with what I said? Don't you agree? And yeah, so I'll be moving on to some other games here. I hope you guys support me in those games as you have with Conan Exiles. And I am signing off. So this is Van from the Vaniverse Gaming Channel. Cheers. Peace out.